Hello, I am Megan Lord and welcome to season 1 of the Wedding Rooms on Air. This is a podcast that myself and Adam, the producer, have brought to you as a library and wealth of information for people who are planning their own weddings. We want to bring together creatives every week who are breathing life into the wedding industry. So follow along with us on your planning journey. Like and subscribe, and you can also purchase our ultimate planning download that takes all of the stress out of planning your own wedding. We really hope you enjoy the next episode. Hello and welcome to the Wedding Rooms on Air, the podcast that helps excited couples through their journey and gives an invaluable look behind the scenes with wedding suppliers. Today I am joined by the lovely Holly from Bella Wren Hair. Welcome, Holly. And for those that are listening and not watching us, we are about to clink our glasses because essentially we're in that little morning session. You're helping the bride getting ready. Everyone's got a little bit of Bucks Fizz or a bit of bubbles going on. And that, that's what we're emulating today.
Yeah.
So first of all, Holly, tell us a bit about yourself. How did you get into the wedding industry?
Well, I essentially actually work generally in the salon, and I just fancied doing something aside from that. Like, salons are a very busy, stressful environment. And one of my long-standing clients wanted only me to do her wedding hair, and this was a few years ago now. And she asked me if I would, and it wasn't something that I was actually doing at the time. And I said that I'll do it for her, and I really enjoyed it. And then it just got me into...
Just built from there.
Wanting to do weddings. It just went from there, and it was really good. I really enjoyed it. So it's nice to break it up, have nice chilled mornings and being a part of people's day. So it's nice.
It is. I think that's one of the nicest thing about being in the wedding industry, isn't it? You do, and although to a certain extent, yes, weddings, it's always a wedding, but it's always different.
Always.
It's always different because it all stems from the personality of the bride and groom. So therefore, the feel of the day and the environment and the little touches and how they, how you interact with them always changes, doesn't it?
Always. All depends on your personality and like where you're getting married, how you're wanting to get married, like your kind of style and everything. It always depends. Always depends on the day.
So tell us a little bit about the structure of wedding hair and styling, because lots of hairdressers work in different ways, don't they? Yeah. So as to whether, just down to like the trial, do they come to you? Do you go to them? So does everyone do a trial?
No, not everybody. So I always recommend having a trial because it gives us like a time to work together before the day, and I like to learn your hair. So before I even think about coming on the wedding day, I like to get to know you, your hair, like how you generally like to wear your hair on an everyday basis. So I always recommend doing a trial beforehand. I mean, the majority of the time people do have trials. It's very rare that people don't, but some people just are happy for you to turn up on the day and trust you to just make them look beautiful, basically. But I always recommend a trial.
And so if the trial, if someone's in that position where they're like, I've seen her work, I'm quite happy, I don't feel like I need a trial, is that something they should consider doing regardless? Because I imagine different hair, whether it's thick, whether it's thin, whether grips hold well, whether they don't, whether you want their hair slightly greasier or, more washed, or those sort of nuances that you can only tell by actually getting a hold of their hair.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, if they don't want to have a trial, that's absolutely fine. Like, some people, like you say, do look at your work and are happy for you to just go in and get on with it. But to learn the hair beforehand, and like you say, all of these different things, like the grips might not hold, the style that they've gone for might not suit their hair. And if you don't have a trial, you're always at risk of it not going wrong, but you might not like it on the day, and then you might not have time to amend it and do a whole different style. So having that trial is a bit more of a security to make sure that on the day your hair is exactly how you want it, without any risks of not having time to redo it, or you're hating it and you want something different. So that trial is like a security blanket.
So I guess if you in any way have a vision of what you want your hair to look like, then really trial is imperative for you. Whereas if you don't have a vision and you're just putting your like, I can see they're talented, I trust them, I'm happy for them to do whatever, that's the person that maybe is okay to not have a trial, because then if you get in and the grips aren't holding how you wanted it to, you'll just adapt and adapt the style to suit the person, which only works if you're comfortable
if they're
without a subscripted style sort of thing.
That's it.
When do you think that the reason that people don't choose a trial is a financial choice? Is that the concern? And can you talk a little bit about, because I putting my head into being a bride who's planning it, especially one who maybe doesn't spend a lot of money on beauty in general, I might think to myself, well, it's already out of the element for me to pay someone to do my hair, but now I'm going to pay for them to do it twice. And do you think that's a big factor and in why people don't choose to have a trial?
I think so. I think because, like you say, you're already going to be paying somebody to come out to do the hair on your wedding day, and then you're going to be paying them again to come out to trial. Obviously, you have to charge for that. And some people then, when you kind of start adding like money on for the trials, and I always travel to them. So depending on like location, obviously you have to add like factor in your travel and everything like that. So when you then start adding more on to what you originally quoted just for like the wedding day, people then I think do start to panic because it's actually more than what I anticipated. But I think it's definitely something that people do not worry about, but they're a bit like, oh, I only budgeted this amount of money. Yeah. But now it's kind of going past that because I didn't think about actually having a trial or anything like that. So
it's really difficult, isn't it? Because it's one of those that you totally see both sides and there's not really a solution, because you can't, like, to turn around and say, well, why do I have to pay for the trial? Yeah. Well, the hairstylist is doing the same amount of work, probably, if not, you know, a little bit more, because they're sort of figuring out what they're going to do and planning it as on the wedding day. So why is that worth nothing if that's worth X amount? Yeah. So you can't expect that. But then also from the bride and groom, you can imagine them, they're stressed about, they're planning, they're paying out all the time, and then to pay for something that they're not going to see on the day. Yeah. I mean, what would you, is there any advice you could give someone where budget is the issue? They want to use you. The thought of not having a trial stresses them out. Yeah. But they can't afford to pay for the trial as well. What advice would you give them? What could they try and do to ease that situation?
I think just think about how you would wear your hair on an everyday basis. So if you were to more like wear your hair up and you like having that and it works for your hair, then definitely go for a style that you like up. If you wear it down more, have a style that's kind of more you, so you can wear it down, because then you know that if you're not going to have a trial, then you know, well, I wear my hair up on a regular basis. Yes. So I know it's going to work. Or I don't really wear my hair up, I normally have it down, so it might be better to go for more of a half up, half down style, or just all down. So just think about
so don't go wildly out of your comfort zone unless you're going to have a trial for it.
Yeah, I would say, follow kind of what you would generally have on an everyday basis. But when you have it for your wedding, obviously it's going to be more glamorous and stylish to suit your wedding than on like an everyday look. So I'd say, stick to what you...
the foundations of what you... I am looking to you, our followers, to help us. We are set out on a very exciting new project and we need your help to find a very deserving couple. The Wedding Rooms podcast has always been about trying to help couples, help them plan their weddings, and this is a massive extension of that. We have managed to find and give away an entire wedding day. I'm talking venue, DJ, videographer, photographer, details, catering, and so much more. This is all being given, and we want to give it to someone who is truly deserving. So we are looking for your nominations. We want to hear about people who really deserve this break. And it could be about work that they're doing in the community. It could be about someone who has had a really tough time in life and now this is something that they just deserve to be given. The most key thing and factor is that it needs to be a secret nomination. We do not want hundreds of people out there who are very deserving disappointed because they didn't win. So we are looking for you to secretly nominate friends, family, colleagues, people in your life that would benefit from this massive, massive, massive gift. Send your nominations to megan@theweddingrooms.uk. All you need to include is your name, the person you're nominating, why you're nominating them, and a way for us to get in touch with you, and we will get back in touch. If you don't know anyone that you wish to nominate, please share this podcast. Let's spread this around. Let's find someone and make a magical, magical dream come true for them. Would you encourage people both in that situation and even if they're having a child to send you images of what they're interested in?
Yeah, I always ask for pictures of what kind of styles you like to have for your hair, just because then I get an idea of what your style is that you like and what you're wanting to go for. And then when I get there on the day, whether it's the trial day or the wedding day, I can determine whether that style is going to work for you. So it kind of gives me a bit of a heads up to being like, hey, this is what I want. So let's see if we can do that, basically. So it's definitely good to have an image in mind and to send that in advance to your hairstylist, because then they've got some form of knowledge going into it. They've got something that they can, like, well, for me personally, I can relate to. So if you're sending me this style, I can look at your hair, work with your hair and see if that's going to work. And then if it doesn't, I can suggest something that is either similar or slightly different to work with the hair type that you've got.
Yeah. I just thought of a solution, actually. Like if you found, if someone's found yourself and say, I'm booking you for 2026, you could even go in and have your hair done by you, couldn't you? Like at some point in that year, like, you know, so then you can have, I guess it's good in a way if you are using a stylist who works in a salon, because then you can work towards it, whether it's colour that you're building up and you sort of almost can have a 2-year journey getting yourself where you want to be. And in that instance, you might not need to add the trial on because they know you well and know your hair well.
Well, that's it. I have had some clients that are my clients from coming into the salon, and then they've booked me for their wedding hair. So I already know their hair. I know what works for their style. And then I have had a few new clients more recently in the past couple of years who booked me for their wedding and then started coming to me in the salon before the wedding. Yeah. So then I could get used to their hair. So that's always a good way of doing it as well.
I think we touched a lot on this podcast about once doing your work, like doing your homework into getting the right supplier. And once you've done that and you've got them and you trust them, then handing yourself over to them a bit, you know, letting them be creative. So maybe again with hair, you've got to understand that your hair on the day is quite unpredictable, isn't it? Hair, like how it's going to sit, how it's going to, when you wake up, and trusting that they're going to get as close to your vision as they can, but to also make your hair on that day look at its best. So maybe sort of letting go a little bit of, you know, absolute laser vision of what you want to have. I certainly on my wedding day, I really wanted to have the sort of curls that come like wave down the side of the face, like very sort of old Hollywood, which was always a vision of what we were going for. But then when I picked my dress, it was so of that era. If I'd done that with my hair as well, I think it would have looked a little bit like I was in costume or like on set for a film. And my hairdresser talked me out of it. And in hindsight, I'm glad they did. You know, you have to trust them. I always
ask to see pictures of the dresses if it's at the trial or even not at a trial on the wedding day, or to go and look at the dress, because the certain style that you might like to have won't work with the kind of style that your dress is. So I always like to ask about the dress so that you can incorporate your style and it all flows nicely, because you want your hair, your dress, like even your makeup, everything just to flow.
Yeah, it all needs to come together, doesn't it?
Yeah, and if it's, you know, your hair's standing out like a sore thumb compared to your dress, it's you're not going to feel as beautiful as you should. So I always ask to see the dress to fit the style in, basically.
So, like, as you've gone through the seasons, like, is there any major do's and don'ts that you've slowly learned that you'd say to brides and grooms who are like preparing or planning, or even on the wedding day, like prepping their hair?
I'd probably say, like, I always recommend for my clients, wash your hair the morning of the day before, because then it's still freshly enough, like clean and washed, to be able to make it still look nice and sleek if you're going for that style. Or it's then, if you're going for a bit more of a messy style and it needs to have a little bit more of, like, not that your hair would be greasy, but a little bit more of something that keeps that style in.
Yeah.
It's giving that good kind of middle ground to, it's still fresh enough to look nice and clean, but then it's still got a bit of dirt in there to help grip in those pins or pin it or anything like that. So I always say, definitely, yeah, just wash your hair like the morning of the day before, and then don't put anything in it. Just like shampoo, try not to put conditioner in it, because conditioner can actually make your hair so soft that it drops the style. But yeah, that's it. Literally just wash it. Don't put any products in it. Try not to touch it if you can, because the more you touch it, you add, like, you know, grease onto it or anything like that. Just try and wash it and leave it. And then that's ready then for the stylist to turn up on the day and get cracking.
What would you, if someone's someone who just every morning they have to wash their hair, that's their routine, is there any advice? What reason would you give them so that they wouldn't do that? Like, what would be the consequences of them washing it the morning of the wedding?
I would say dry shampoo. Dry shampoo is a lifesaver, because it gives you that coverage enough to cover if you needed to wash your hair every day, but then also it's not going to take away from, like, styling your hair. So I would always say, if you're one of those clients that really needs to wash your hair on the morning of your wedding, try not to, and just put dry shampoo in. Like, I can bring dry shampoo as part of my products, so yeah, dry shampoo is like a lifesaver.
What would happen if they, like, making myself sound like a dunce, but like, why is it bad to wash your hair on the wedding day?
Because most of the time, if your hair is too clean and it's too freshly washed, it will drop. No matter how many products you use, no matter how well your heated equipment is, it's because it is so fresh, your hair is smoother, it's more sleek, and it's softer. So that automatically drops your style. And you don't want your style to drop out on the day. You want it to last from the morning, because a lot of brides get ready very early in the morning, and you want it to last until the end of the day.
Yeah.
So having clean hair, you're risking losing that style and dropping out, and you don't want that to happen. So if you can avoid washing it to help your style last longer, I'd not wash it. So
have you because I'm a wedding photographer, so we're both in there in the morning, aren't we? And you get some right old moments in the morning. I feel like that's a real privilege to be there in the morning.
Yeah.
And I often speak to hairdressers and makeup artists, and they say how much they adore their jobs, because they're there for that bit, and then they get to, like, wave them off and say bye, have a lovely day, and go home.
Literally see them, like, first thing in the morning, when obviously they've just kind of rolled out of bed, they're in their pajamas, and then you work with them for the morning, getting them ready while they're excited, while they're nervous, while some brides might be stressing. Like, it's just nice to be there to help get them ready, help them in any way that they need. And then, like you say, you then leave after they've all done that in their dresses, and you get that accomplishment to be like, I helped create this beautiful look. And then you go and let them enjoy their day. But it's so special to be picked as part of that person and that party, to be able to get them ready for, like, the biggest day of their lives.
And it's funny, isn't it? It's very rare, I've got to say, out of all of the suppliers that I work with on weddings, you get a real mix of different people, but I find it's very rare that you get, like, generally the makeup artists and the hairdressers are just lovely, you know, and it's so important that they are, because a few weddings I've worked where the hairdressers and makeup artists are stressed and snappy and rushing through. Like I've seen it where they're sort of just rushing to get through, and you can see everyone's feeling that energy. That just sets the tone of the day. Like, you know, so it's really important to have a good chat pre-booking your hairstylist and your makeup artist, like making sure that they make you feel calm and also that you trust them. Because I think as ladies, quite often, we're all used to doing our own hair, our own makeup. We're used to looking in our own mirrors in a controlled environment, which is a reflection anyway, and not a true reflection, you know, doesn't show us exactly what we look like.
Yeah.
So then to hand it all over to other people on your special day, like I imagine for some brides, I mean, I'm not someone who does their hair a lot or wears a lot of makeup generally, so I was quite just like, go. But for some brides, that might be quite difficult to give that control over to you.
Yeah.
So having someone who makes you feel calm and confident so that you can do that, I think is really, really important.
I also like to help make you feel calm and like just relax for your day, because like you say, you don't want to go in stressed and worried about anything. So I always make sure that I give you a schedule, not so that you have to follow it to a T, but I like to say, you know, this person needs to be in the chair at this time, or vice versa. It doesn't have to be that exact person, but as long as there is somebody in the chair at the time on the schedule that I can do their hair, and then we go on to the next. It all flows nicely because everyone knows where they need to be, when they need to be there. And then you haven't got to worry or stress about running late or having that environment of, oh, this is like stressing me out.
Yeah.
It just flows nicely. Like there's the schedule, you know, do it as and when you please. But as long as somebody's in that chair at that time, don't worry about it.
Another thing I've come across a lot as a photographer, watching and sort of looking at them and going, I wish I could help you out here.
Yeah.
is the balance between when a bride has said, so she's paid for the hairdresser to do the bridesmaid's hair.
Yep.
Because she wants them to have the hair in a certain style. And then as soon as the bride is like not near, they are fighting, not physically fighting, but fighting with the hairstylist because they want it how they want it. And seeing the hairstylist having to constantly say over and over again, yeah, but the bride, like as in like the bride's got her hair down. She doesn't want any bridesmaids to have their hair down. Yeah, but no, I'm just going to have this bit down. And like, no, you're not. Do you come across that a lot where it's a bit of a battle of wills?
I don't even think I have really, but I think people always like to have their input. So I always kind of think you can have your input to a certain extent, but I see it as you've got to remember the bride's paying for you to have your hair done. So if she says to you, you're having it up, you're having it up.
Yeah.
Like, unless you've paid for it yourself out of your own pocket, have whatever you want. A lot of people are generally, like brides are quite good at letting their bridesmaids just pick whatever they want.
Yes.
But some brides do have a certain look and a certain style that they want to have. And if she's paying for it, you have it.
Well, and I agree that like if you do want your bridesmaids to have to conform to a certain style, then you kind of got to pay for it yourself. Yeah. Like you can't ask them to pay for it and then ask them to conform to a certain style. And you do generally find that even if they've got something in mind that their hair's down and the other girls is up, they'll still let them have a bit of input and like choose the style a bit.
Down at the front, or like, do you want your fringe out? Anything like that. You can still tweak it to be how the bride wants it to be, but you can still have your own twist on it. And 90% of the time, just saying, look, you can keep these bits down, you can keep your fringe out, then they're generally happy. And
that's something to remind brides that you can both let your bridesmaids' personalities come through and still have that unity of image that you've got in your mind, sort of thing. But you know, everybody's different, and at the end of the day, if your bride has decided she wants everyone's hair exactly the same and she's paid for it and it's her day and you're her bridesmaid, then suck it up.
That's it. And the point of being a bridesmaid is to help the bride, you know, have a stress-free day, and to help, like, it's the whole point. You're a bridesmaid. You're there to help her with anything that she needs, and to help her on the morning of her wedding stay relaxed and stay in the zone of getting excited to go and get married. You don't want to then be arguing with the hairstylist about, well, I want this instead. You're just not going to help the person that you're meant to be there to help relax for the biggest day.
And you get like any group of friends, you get like all the different personalities, don't you? We were, how many was there? It was 4 of us that were bridesmaids for one of my best friends, and we went shopping, and one of the bridesmaids lived abroad, and the dress that she picked, we put up our concerns politely.
Yeah.
None of us were fans of it, and we sort of said we weren't sure, but said enough that she knew how we felt. But she was like, I really love it. And then we all went, then we love it. Like, that's it. That's fine. We're totally on board. Absolutely. Yeah. And then a picture got sent to the one who was abroad, and I won't use the language, but she just phoned the bride and in no uncertain terms told her we weren't wearing it. And, at the time I was like, you can't do that. But she found it really funny, and, because that's how their relationship worked, and it was all fine, and the dress got changed. But you've got to put them first. Yeah. You've got to let them have their day, how they want to have their day. And then, treat others how you want to be treated when you're a bride, basically.
And that's it. And I think as well, like, asking someone to be a bridesmaid is a very big thing. And if you don't feel like you can kind of live up to the expectation of what a bridesmaid is, you don't have to say yes. They won't be offended.
No.
Like, they'll be honoured, that they've asked you, and you don't have to say yes if you don't feel like you're going to be able to give the bride what she needs. Like, she won't be offended. She'll be happy that you've been honest with her and been like, look, I don't think it's right for me because I can't wear the exact dress that you want me to wear, anything like that. So just be honest from the start. And if you don't think you're going to be able to live up to her expectation, just don't say yes.
Yeah, because everyone's different, isn't it? Some bride, we got my bridesmaids dresses off ASOS, and it was all very relaxed. I let them choose, and the hairdressers were there, but they chose how they wanted to have that, because that didn't matter to me. No. So, but then there was other elements of the day that did. So it's very much they're all different ball games, aren't they? Every single wedding has different rules and different ways of working.
That's it.
On that, to talk about hair as a package is difficult, because you don't know how many people are having it, and so if we sort of remove it as a big spectrum, if we were just talking about on the day bridal hair, where do you think the industry goes? Like, where could someone, like, the cheapest and most expensive that a bride might expect to pay for her on the day bridal hair?
I think it depends, it depends where you go and how much experience the hairstylist has, and if they do that as an everyday job. For me, who obviously I work in the salon as well, so I don't necessarily price my prices to the most highest price that you can possibly,
because it's not your full-time position.
It's not my full-time position. So I might be slightly less pricey than somebody that does it on an everyday basis. But I think if you're kind of looking for someone that is a little bit cheaper, you're going to find that actually it's not their main kind of job. It's like an additional to what they already do. But then if you're wanting somebody that does it all of the time, you're going to expect that they've got that more experience in it, and they've got a little bit more knowledge on it. So they are going to price more for that, because that's what they do. That's what they specialise in. So I think... can't remember the question.
So, how much would someone expect to pay for bridal hair, like bottom end and top end?
So I'd probably say the minimum would be starting at about 200, and then it can vary. I think the most expensive that I've heard from a client is being just for them on the wedding day is like £500. Yeah. And that's quite a lot. That's just for the bride. So I think I imagine it goes up higher than that as well. Yeah.
Sometimes you're looking at over £1,000 just to have your hair done. So
it's a big scale. But again, I think it depends on your budget. It depends on what you are going to allow to have for your hair. And then you kind of have to think, well, if I can only afford 500 maximum, and that's for me and bridesmaids, you might have to look at somebody that's slightly less expensive, but does it as an addition instead of somebody that does it every day.
Yeah. At least then you can witness that they're having experience within the salon sort of thing. So I guess maybe if someone is lower in price, a good question to ask them is, do you work full-time in a salon? And maybe if they don't work full-time in a salon and it's their full-time job, then that's maybe where to get a little concerned and speak to them about their experience. Because I guess with hair more than anything, as you climb up, you're not going up in equipment necessarily or products.
Yeah.
Although I guess, you know, in terms of styling products, you will be.
Yeah.
And actually in heat products, that will make a massive difference, won't it? But once you get to a certain point, they're all going to have top range styling products.
Yeah.
So then once you go above that, it's experience, knowledge, brand and demand, isn't it? And then the higher up, you know, once people are right up the top end of the scale, and you're paying like up to £1,000 just for your bridal hair, that it's because they're in such demand that they can.
You find that people that are generally more do bridal hair as a everyday thing, they're booked up years in advance because people know that that's what they specialise in, and most people, which is fair enough, want people that specialise in that and do it on a regular basis. So you'll probably find that if you are wanting to book that type of person, you need to think about it pretty soon, like in advance, instead of leaving it to a couple of months before. Whereas if people like me, I work half in the salon, half weddings. For me, I'm a little bit more flexible, so I might have a few more dates open.
Yeah.
So you can book me like not as many years in advance, but you still need to give some kind of in advance. Where
there's only so many weekend dates, isn't there? And that's why these people who are in such high demand, they do charge more because there's only set amount of dates, or you book them out of season, basically. And that's kind of what we're trying to do here, is there is no right or wrong answer to that. There's no, if you want that person who that's what they do and they get flown all across the world to do hair, you go for it. But you've got to book them way in advance and you've got to pay the premium. If you want someone who has got really good knowledge and is going to be flexible with you and, you know, like yourself, and you work in the salon as well, then you do that. And it's just understanding why the costs are different.
And it's not that they're not like somebody like myself where we do half in the salon and half weddings. We're not like less expensive because we're not as good. No. Because we are a little bit more flexible and we don't that's not our everyday jobs.
And you're able to be, because it's like you're able to give that back to the bride and groom. And, you know, once someone makes the leap and they're just doing that, they've got to put it up because you've got to pay the bills, you know, like if that's the only income coming in, then you've not got a week's worth of hair and then some hair on the weekend. You've only got that weekend hair. So that's a big part of that's a massive part of what's going to change the price.
Definitely.
Is there a lot of costs that people just don't see or don't understand, like, of being a wedding hair supplier?
I think people kind of forget that you have to pay like your insurance. Like a lot of venues ask to see hairstylist insurances to make sure that they actually are insured to come out to locations to be able to do the hair, and you have to make sure that all your equipment, if you're using heated tools, are pat tested, because you can't take it somewhere without it being pat tested to make sure the electricals inside are good and safe. So you have to pay for things like that. Obviously, you have to pay for all the products. Like on a regular basis, when you're using products, they go down pretty quickly, and you have to pay.
And if you use it, we've all been to the hairdressers, haven't we, and treated ourselves to the expensive hairspray and stuff, and you'll be using that quality stuff, and it's not cheap, you know. It's not like walking into Superdrug.
And I think as well, like manufacturers also kind of yearly put up their prices to even buy the products in, because they're having to pay more to make the products. And they're always, the type of products that I use personally anyway, they're always finding ways to try and make it better and more like eco-friendly, or all of that kind of stuff. So they put their prices up because they have to pay for that investment into making the product more sustainable. But yeah, I think that's generally, and obviously like for me as well, I buy the clips and the bobby pins and everything like that, and the hair bubbles and the donuts, and all of that comes at a cost, because once I've used that one hair donut on somebody, that's
gone.
It's gone.
Yeah. You don't get any of that back.
I don't go back in the evening.
No.
And have my hair.
You're not walking around the dance floor like picking up bobby pins.
So once you've used them, that's gone then. And you do, if you've got like quite a big bridal party and they've all got thick hair and stuff like that, you do use a lot of pins, and that could be half the box.
I mean, we're not sat here making it sound like that, that's obviously rolled into the price, but it's understanding that the prices are in there. That if they've paid you £200 to do bridal hair, you haven't made £200. No. And I think that's just something like, I don't want to, we're not all here with the torch as wedding suppliers. It's not from that angle. It's actually from the angle of letting, and for people to feel a bit more comfortable with where they're spending the money and what they're spending it on, and knowing that like there are costs that are going with it. Is the stress of planning your own wedding overtaking the joy of planning your own wedding? In an ideal world, we would all have a wedding planner, but that is not always possible. So what we've done is created a digital download with an extensive set of tools packaged into an effective PDF, all in one place. You have spreadsheets, budgeting tools, trackers, pie charts, so that you can follow along the journey, see where your money is going, see what has been organised and what is still to be done, helping you with all the organisational stresses. Then you have a whole set of tips for a stress-free wedding. These have come from inside intel from industry suppliers to give you help, to give you some knowledge as you go along your journey and on the day. It also has a whole set of templates. Now, these are on a Canva, a free Canva account, so there's nothing that you need to sign up for. That as you click on the links, you can handle your stationery, your invites, your save the dates, your on the day signs. You can handle hen party games. Everything can have the colours changed, the fonts changed. You can do all of that. All the hard work has been done and laid down so that you can go ahead and get creative. And as you go through this journey, if you decide that you want that little bit more help and that little bit more support, you can pay for us at the Wedding Rooms to do all the changes for you. This is something that takes all of the pressure out of planning your own wedding and is a neat little package. As a subscriber of season 1 of the Wedding Rooms on Air, you can currently get the download for £67. So either go directly to the website www.theweddingrooms.uk/buy, or click the link below to get your download today. So I've got a thought, like for people who are out there, we were just talking about these beautiful, expensive products that are going to get used on them. So for people who are out there who have particularly greasy hair or particularly dry hair, or have something that they feel like is going to hinder them when it comes to the hair being done on their wedding day, are there particular brands that are better for them? So for example, some might say, like, I don't know hair example, but like maybe MAC is for younger skin, not for older skin. Yeah. So are there things like that that you might sort of say to them, or try, if you've got greasy hair, try this brand? Or
I think all brands are different, and I think for a hairstylist, they find their brand and that is their brand.
Okay, so it's more about how the hairstylist works rather than different brands being good for different. Yeah,
so once you've once I've found my brand, I stick to that. And because all the hair product ranges, they range from so many different products that no matter what type of hairstyle you've got, you're covered.
Yeah.
Because that brand will offer so many different ranges for all different hair types, whether it's more greasier, whether it's drier, whether it's thin, whether it's thick. So you've always got a product within that brand that you've kind of chosen to cover you for no matter what hair you've got, basically.
And do you think that's more just about how you work then? Like, you know, loads of different people will use different ones, and there's no right or wrong answer.
No, I wouldn't say there's any right or
We got to give them some some guidance.
No, I don't. I wouldn't say there is a right or wrong answer. I think if you might even not like the products that I personally use, or like your hairstylist personally use. You might prefer something different. But generally, yeah, your hairstylist finds their brand that they like, and they will stick to it. If you use that, if you ask for a product, for example, and you don't get on with it, most people do ask again, like, is there another brand that I can use? And I try to think back to other brands that I have used previously before sticking to where I am now. And I always say, like, try this brand instead, and it might work better for you. But I think you'll find that hairstylists say this is the brand that they use and they love and they know works. So I don't think they'd kind of guide you to a different brand when they know that their brand works so well.
Yeah, and it's also it's your tool essentially, isn't it? Yeah. So it's like asking a painter and decorator to use a random paintbrush. They're so used to how that works, sort of thing. So no, I totally understand that. Do you find with hair that it really follows wedding trends, and do you think that's picked up as social media's picked up?
I think...
Or is it more personal?
I think it depends on the person. I think wedding hair is very personal, and you do kind of follow what works for your hair. A lot of people do follow the trends, and that's obviously fine. But I kind of have found that most people that come to me are looking for more of like the boohoo style looks, so the nice softer looks, like the half up, half downs. Just because I do so many of them, because a lot of...
So then that's what they're seeing on your socials, and that's why they're coming to you.
And that's fine. So I suppose because I am posting that most of the time, people who want that kind of look do come to me. But I suppose if you followed somebody that did more updos, you're more likely to go to the person that you see that does more updo looks than a person that's got a half up.
It's interesting, isn't it, how the power of social media. Yeah. So essentially that... You know, by maybe it being a trend at the time when you started posting, then created a carousel of brides coming to you because they're looking for that. So they're seeing your socials, they're finding you. So now you've like become a boho style without intending to.
Yeah. And that's it. And I do sometimes have brides that come to me because they want the boho style, but they want their bridesmaids to have the hair up, and they always go, is that something you can do? Yes, I can still do it. It's just that most of the people that I have that come to me prefer the more relaxed looking styles, but I can do the hair ups and things like that. So I always try and like find older pictures of hair ups that I've done to give us that reassurance.
That has happened totally out of your control, just the enormous churning wheel that is social media. I noticed a trend recently where people are starting to get I'm stopping myself because I'm conscious of the fact Adam keeps telling me that I keep looking up into the sky, and as I was doing it I was like, I'm looking at the sky. Of people keeping their hairdresser to the evening to change the look.
Yes.
Is that something you're seeing more of? So they're moving from that down look to the evening look?
I personally haven't had any brides ask me to do that, but if that is something that they would want, I would love to do that, because that is that's really exciting.
I think you might be seeing more of it. I've seen it a few times recently. It's starting to come in.
And a lot of people as well that I've seen have had like long hair, and then mid-reception they've just cut it off. And I'm just like, wow. And
I did see it. And
back in, everyone was like, well, your hair gone. So if
that's an extreme version.
Yeah.
Would you be up for the cut-in as well?
Yes. I would love to do that. But yeah, if somebody came to me and said, this is my thought, what do you think? I'd be on that straight away. Like, that is something.
I was lucky because my hairdresser was already there as a guest. So halfway through, just went, mine was up, and then took it all out, shook it, and then like It was sort of maybe we started the trend.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
10 years ago. So
I never know.
But yeah, that's becoming more and more popular, I think. But it almost like, it being on the catwalks and then coming down. I think it's at higher end weddings, where budget is less relevant.
Yeah.
And then versions of that will start to come down, and then people will start to do affordable versions of that where you can offer it. So
that's it.
And again, it might be like, okay, so I can either do you and your bridesmaids, or for the same price I can do you morning and nighttime look, and you let the bridesmaids fend for themselves.
Yeah, that's it.
And it all comes down to this, isn't it? Like, I think something I say quite a lot on the show is price the dream.
Yep.
And then cut back according to what you need to do for your budget.
Yep.
Because it's really a double-edged sword. You want to make sure your budget is being looked after, because you don't want to look back with any financial regret.
No.
And there's always ways and means, I think that, if the hair is really important to you, and that's super, super important to you, and you want everyone to have their hair done, and you want to have the evening look, and you want to do all of that, but that means it's £700 more than you thought it was going to be. Do it. Don't cut your nose off to spite your face. Do it, but then save £700 on 7 other things. Just knock a little bit. Or if you imagine 14 other things that you're buying, knock 50 quid off 14 other things.
Yeah.
That's doable. That's achievable. And you've got what you want, and you've not extended your budget.
Yeah.
So it's, just getting your head around what's available to you. But I think that's something we're going to start seeing more within hair. I've seen it a few times recently, and they were on much larger budget weddings.
Yeah.
But I think it will start transitioning down.
Hairstylists, if they start seeing a trend, they're more likely to incorporate that into their budget. So if that's something that you are looking for, a lot of people, if they're thinking, oh, this is becoming a trend and I would love to do that, or I can do that, they will change their prices or incorporate that into their prices accordingly, so that even if you are on a slightly lower budget kind of wedding, you can still have something that you really want to have. But I think it depends on the hairstylist and what they kind of want to do. But if somebody came to me and said, this is my thought, I'd be like, right, let's get this priced up accordingly. And if you want me there all day, or you want me to leave and come back in the evening, I'm happy to do that. So I think you've just got to work with the bride and what they envision, and kind of see if it works with what you want to do as well, and then just see if it flows. But I think a lot of people will start kind of looking at the trends and trying to incorporate that.
It needs to be offered, like they need to know it's there as an option before it all start to become a more regular thing. I've got an interesting one. Because I'm someone who's always had long hair. And I've recently started to go shorter. It's actually a bit longer at the minute, but I've been sort of keeping it more in a bob. What would you advise for people who do have shorter hair or bobbed hair, if they have always envisioned, if they're sort of like, well, do I really need a hairstylist because I don't, I haven't got enough hair to do like a big up style? What would you encourage them to think about?
I'd probably think about, if you wanted to do it yourself, that's obviously fine. But I'd think about, are you going to be okay on the morning of your wedding doing your own hair? Are you going to feel stressed? Are you going to feel like it's not good enough? Because if you do it and you don't like it, are you going to be worried about, oh, it's not how I envisioned it? So I think there's always something that you can do about it. So I think if you're happy to do it by yourself and you're not going to be that type of bride that's going to be worried about the look, then go for it. But I think you've also got to remember, hairstylists and bridal stylists always work with different types of hair. So I guarantee if you go to a bridal stylist, they've styled somebody's hair that is similar length to yours, shorter. And because we work with so many different styles and lengths and thickness, we've always got backup styles.
You've seen it all.
To give you a lovely style, no matter what length or what thickness your hair is. So I think if you wanting to have nice hair and you can budget into your, you know, your finances for the wedding, then I think go for it, because a hairstylist is gonna definitely have a style in mind for your type of hair. But if you feel like you can do it and you're not going to be stressed about it, and you feel like on the day you're going to be able to do your hair and it's going to look how you want it to look, then that's fine too. But I'd say a hairstylist generally has a style in mind for every different type of hairstyle that there is.
Yeah, it's I think doing anything for yourself on the wedding day is much more stressful than you think it is.
Yeah.
So, and that's not, you know, if you can't put a hairstylist into your budget, maybe think about having a friend do it, or, you know, just anything to remove. You just want to be as relaxed as possible.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know that we are drastically running out of time here, Holly, but there is a question that I always like to ask people when they come to the show. So imagine you are completely incapacitated for whatever reason. You cannot do the wedding. Someone's come to you, they adore you, they love you, but they can't have you. What advice would you give them to go out and find another supplier who's great?
I would say if you've come to me for a certain style, keep that in mind when you're looking for other people. So go out and find a hairstylist that is offering more so the styles that you're wanting and that you like, because then you know that you're definitely going to get something that you prefer, because they obviously specialise in that, and that's just something that they do more. I'd also say try and find somebody that you click with as well, because you have to get on. Well, you don't have to, but it would be nicer to get on with the people that are there.
You don't want to start your morning being like, oh, this one.
Yeah, so I'd say from the first initial contact, just see how you like get on with them, see how the vibe is and where it goes. Like if you flow nicely together, then that's definitely going to be better for your wedding day than if somebody you start talking to from the offset and you're not flowing with them. It's not going to work. So definitely kind of find somebody that you've got a vibe with. Find somebody that you want to kind of find someone that is also great with communication, because you don't want to start that initial conversation with them and then wait forever for a reply. Or you want somebody that's going to be kind of getting back to you as quickly as they can, obviously having that vibe with them. And just finding somebody that is generally offering the style that you want more, just because you know that it's going to kind of be a guarantee that you're going to like that style.
Or maybe having a bit of an extended communication as well, because I guess some people might be very good at the communication initially because they want you to put that deposit down, but make sure that communication continues so that they haven't got your money and they're like, see you in 18 months.
And that's why I always say as well, trial, because some people, they book you, contact you and they book you without a trial, and then obviously then they turn up on your wedding day, whereas the trial in between, you're still kind of having that communication with your hairstylist in between to find out, you know, where the trials are going to be and what time they're arriving, all of this. And then on that trial day, you've got that time to get to know that person, they get time to know your hair, and then obviously afterwards they contact you again before the wedding. So you've kind of got that contact and that communication with a hairstylist from right at the start up until your wedding day. I think if people are kind of like more your vibe, just go.
That's a good sign. I've got an awkward question for you, right? They've had their trial, they don't like it. What happens now?
So I always allow extra time for the trial. So I always add an extra couple of hours on, because the whole point of the trial is to trial hair. So if we do a style,
to get to where we're happy.
That's it. So if we do a style that you initially had in mind and then you don't like it, we've then got however many hours extra to then do another style. That's the point of the trial. It helps you find the perfect style that you want. And then it also allows you to wear that style for the day or whatever, and then see how it works with you. I always allow extra time for the trial. So then you can obviously figure out what kind of styles work for you. But then if you still don't like it, you can have the option of having that stylist go back again and do a new style for you, and then just keep trialing it. But this is where I always recommend having a style in mind, because then it's kind of a little bit easier and you haven't got that worry about not liking it. But yeah, worst case scenario, you either do another trial and you kind of...
And would you be paying again, like in most situations?
Pay again, no.
Yeah.
But some people might. So that's what you kind of have to consider. I personally wouldn't, because if you weren't happy to start with, I'd want to make sure that you've got something that you're happy with. Yeah. So I personally wouldn't. And it would be kind of like...
So it's almost like discovery rather than a trial. Like trial almost feels like you're on trial.
Yeah.
Whereas if you think about it more as you're paying for a discovery session where you and your hairstylist are going to discover what your hair is going to be like on the wedding day, then that feels, I don't know, to me mentally a bit more easier to pay for.
Yeah.
Because that I am investing in something then, aren't I? I'm investing in the two of us sitting down and figuring out and trying different styles on my hair.
And if you really don't like it, then I always, will try and do my best to accommodate you, to get you in for another trial or discovery session too.
We've recoined it, ladies.
Yeah, we have.
Watch this space, the future of the industry. Hair discovery session.
I always try and get you back in and make sure we've got something that you want. And worst case scenario, if you still don't like it, you've got the option of not continuing, I suppose.
Look, we could keep gassing, but I think we are out of time, Holly. So it's been so lovely having you in. Can you tell everyone how they can find you and how they can get in touch?
So I am on socials at Bella Wren Hair. I am on Instagram and I am on Facebook. We've got my number on there, so you can WhatsApp me, text me, or you can message me through social media as well.
It's been so lovely having you, darling.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you everyone for listening, and we'll see you soon. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode. This podcast is brought to you by myself, Megan, from The Wedding Rooms, and Adam Rust of Influence Productions. You can find out more about us in the bio or on the links below. But to sum it up, we are basically a wedding photographer and wedding videographer who enjoyed being their right-hand man and woman to their couples to such an extent that we've decided to go away and make a podcast for them. So thank you for being with us, and thank you for making us part of your journey. And we hope to see you on the next episode.